So I think it was Kobe who said something, right? Like the road from like 100 to 125 will be the easy road, then 125 to like 250, or that'll be the hard road, and then 125 to 250 will be the easy road. So
I got liquidated on gold, and that was, like, the only position I had open. It's hilarious, like, I had, of course, naively had 0 idea that I could get liquidated on 3x on gold, yeah, but honestly, it's really not ideal that Bitcoin can go down like that in 30 minutes.
Threadguy was hit by a big tax bill and was, like, stressing about it on the timeline, and literally the next day, all of a sudden, we, like, see maybe it wasn't the next day, but, like, within, 48 hours, we see this huge surge in Zcash. Like, am I wrong in thinking that there was a connection there, or, like, was there or wasn't there? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unchained, your no-hype resource for all things crypto. I'm your host, Laura Shin. Thanks for joining this live stream, but just FYI that this was pre-recorded. Before we get started, a quick reminder, nothing you hear on Unchained is investment advice. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and my guest and I may hold assets discussed on the show. For more disclosures, visit unchainedcrypto.com. Are you a builder who needs to add on-chain trading to your product? The Uniswap Trading API from Uniswap Labs offers plug-and-play access to some of the deepest liquidity in crypto. It's on-chain execution at an enterprise level. More liquidity, less complexity. Visit hub.uniswap.org to learn more. Mantle is launching the Global Hackathon 2025 to accelerate the future of real-world assets. With a $150,000 prize pool, backing from a $4 billion treasury, and direct access to Bybit's 7 million plus users, this is the ultimate ecosystem for builders. Today's topic is 2025 Year in Review, Part 2. Here to finish the discussion are Gwart, host of The Gwart Show, and Doug Colkitt, co-founder of Fogo and Ambient Finance. Welcome, Doug and Gwart.
hey, thanks for having us back,
Thank
kicking
you
us off.
for yeah, round 2. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to finish off the second half of the year because there was so much that happened. We're going to start with the Genius Act, which was the first stablecoin, sorry, the first crypto law that we have seen in the US. And there were, a few like interesting surprises in there. I think probably the main one that has continued to cause controversy and it's also, I think, a sticking point in the negotiations of the crypto market structure bill is that there's a prohibition on stablecoin issuers directly handing the interest off to users. But anyway, what are your thoughts on what happened with the stablecoin law?
Well, I mean, I guess it kind of kicked off stablecoin season, which is somewhat unfortunate for alt markets because there aren't really many stablecoin tokens, or at least right, like tokens to trade. So, yeah, I mean, great for crypto adoption, but I think everyone kind of wanted something to pump, and there really wasn't much besides circle equity.
What, XVL didn't perform well for you?
Oh, XPL, yeah, that's actually yeah, XPL was the stablecoin play for a while.
I mean, I think that project could do well, but yeah, like it's unfortunate. I mean, really, it feels like only hype. I'm sure there's at least a few others, like Privacy did well this year, but like it just feels like every token was yeah, just down only. I don't know.
Bad year for tokens.
Court, what are your thoughts?
Um, well, I think this, well, I'm not so, like, tuned into what actually happened with the whole Genius Act thing, but I do know what you're talking about with regards to not being able to pass along yield, but I think there's a lot of workarounds with this, right? So they're trying to, I don't know what, like, rewards and depositing a slightly different contract and being able to pay out in another or something, so it is kind of interesting how, like, does seem to be with all of the regulation and everything that's going on, it definitely seems like there's some powerful people behind some of the decisions, which seems sort of, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem intuitive why, we shouldn't be able to just be directed yield if like that is in many ways part of the appeal of stablecoins, I think. is that we can sort of like pass along that T-bills or whatever it may be in the background, and like, immediately this was sort of so yeah, I think like the community banks were behind this, and I think there's still a lot of work to do. It's sort of unfortunate, but that aspect was interesting.
I mean, I guess maybe it's that the banks really feel like they need to pump the bags of Circle and Tether, and that's what it boils down to. They're like, those companies, they're not wealthy enough, so yeah, they need to keep that interest. Okay,
It's
well,
also a
so
good full employment act for lawyers. Like those are always the people who make out the most in crypto.
Yeah,
no,
the
no,
Lawyers more
no, no, no,
ultimate,
no,
available
like
no.
hours.
The
everyone
lawyers are
says,
gonna be decimated by AI.
everyone says that we've been selling all the picks and shovels, but it's really the lawyers who are truly the ones selling the picks and shovels this whole time, right?
Yeah, they're just trying to make as much money as they can before AI comes and wipes them out. No offense to any lawyers listening to the show, but I have been reading about what's going to happen to the legal profession. So anyway, okay, another big event around the same time was the Pump ICO. This was so interesting because this happened at the same time that Let's Bonk was, trending, and there was so much hype, and then afterward there was so much disappointment. And anyway, I don't know. What did you think watching the whole thing?
It was interesting. There was like this narrative that like Pump is like dead and like they're gonna replace it with other launch pads, and it was like about for 6 weeks. And I mean, as far as I can tell, I think like Pump's kind of still dominant right now.
Yeah, but the volume has fallen off
Yeah,
precipitously.
not because of competition though, right? Just because
No,
the
no, you're right.
trenches are
Like
dead.
the whole bonk thing seemed like quite fabricated. Although I am friends with quite a lot of those early bonk investors as well, so I don't want to. I don't know the details. I think they definitely put on like kind of a PR campaign, in conjunction with the Pump ICO in order to compete right then and there. But the ICO was interesting. I don't think it was. I mean, as kind of hilarious as this sounds, like I think it was pretty decently well done insofar as they sold it directly to the public, or there were avenues through which you could buy it publicly, and there was sort of a uniform launch price. And they also launched an evaluation such that if you were a large liquid fund, right, you needed to deploy a sizable chunk at once, this was an opportunity to do so. Obviously, it's like since then it's been up and down. I mean, it went up quite a bit afterwards, right? Like threadguy was all talking about how bullish he was, and I think he sold the Pico top. Maybe he was the reason that was
Alon
pumping. I'm not
Alon was
sure.
kind of deranged
Yeah,
tweeting for a little bit, and I was sending it
yeah. I
up.
don't know exactly what's happening now, though. I don't know
The
where. I
the
haven't heard
price,
about.
because wait, didn't they sell it at point 0.4 cents? Because now it's
Yeah,
at
so 4 billion, I think.
0.19 cents. So it's
Yeah.
less than half. Yeah, I mean, um, I remember that when Alon went on threadguy, he said multiple times to Alon something like, "You have so much money." Like, "You have an ungodly amount of money," or, like, whatever the comments were, and I remember at the, like, second or third comment like that, Alon didn't even, like, just respond, and then threadguy there was, like, a silence, and threadguy just
I'm not gonna dignify that with a response.
didn't mention that again.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, unlike an IPO or like, right, like a company raises equity, they have no legal obligation to do anything with them. Like, they could take the
Mhm.
money and just pay themselves and go home, right? It's just a token sale. But as far as I can tell, I don't think they have. But people were kind of trusting them a lot.
Well, he did, like, so the team initiated some buybacks, right? But they were sort
Mhm.
of arbitrarily designed. So I think he was just, I say he, I mean, the team, I suppose, were, buying in sort of sporadic amounts, and at times it wasn't sort of this algorithmic thing that, we have with hype. And so, and also, again, it's not like, so there's two things. One, it's not so clear the value of launching a token and then making money and then buying back the token that you just issued, right? It's like a little bit of this circular thing where in the real world, when there's like equity and there's, proper revenue and then net income, and then maybe you're doing share repurchases, like, Apple, like all these companies do this on a regular basis. But when you just kind of create something out, like, conjure
Yeah,
something out of
they
thin
do it out
air.
of earnings though. They don't just
Right, exactly.
raise a
Well, that's
bunch
what
of
I'm
money
saying.
and then go buy
Right,
back stock.
exactly.
It's
Well, and
actual.
also like the immediacy of it doesn't like necessarily lend itself well to like this sustainable flywheel whereby you like raise 4 billion and then you're making, I don't know, not 4 billion. No, nothing that's even a reasonable multiple of 4 billion, maybe at the peak of the top, but not when it was done. And then you're kind of like buying back in random amounts. There's nothing that engenders like, oh, this is clearly the way to do financial engineering. But I like, to their defense, or I don't know, defense, but like to kind of be fair, the trenches have completely died, right? Like the volume on, if you look at Solana, the volume is down over 90% from, the Trump launch, and there was sort of that like euthanasia roller coaster. So they tried this streaming thing. I don't know how that's going. They were talking about, creators and stuff, like the whole market. I mean, we could talk about how Pump was this massive, ICO and then a drift downwards, but like the whole market's done that, right? So like I am
Yeah.
somewhat sympathetic toward anybody right now. It's like no one is really in a premier spot. Like all these launches have been down only, right? So I don't know. And Pump does or did make money at one point, right? Like again, is that sustainable? I don't
But
know, but
I
like
think
they
they still
did.
do like $1 million a
They do.
day
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Yeah.
revenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't
so
know
I
who's
think
still trading like pump shitters, but like a lot of people
I
are.
know, right? Well, like all the like now if a token hits, I mean, if a token hits like $1 million or $5 million market cap now, it's like that's the runner of the day. Whereas like,
That's the new whip.
6 to 12 months ago, we had coins, running to 50, 100 million regularly and, at times billion, you know what I mean? So it's clear that the trenches in aggregate have been, like it's been a prescribed fire almost.
Yeah, there was this funny tweet after the ICO where someone was like, "Wait, so we gave you money for the ICO, but then now you're using the money to buy the they were it was like this whole like circular thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is basically a thing that they do on TradFi, but it's just funny. It's like literally all we're doing is like moving money from one, entity to another and then back and forth and back and forth. Um, so okay. Well, the next big thing was that Tempo caused quite a stir when it chose to become its own L1. And I shouldn't say it's like an entity, it's itself. It's like Stripe chose to make Tempo an L1. And obviously this became I think it caused a bit of consternation, I would say, in Ethereum world. But what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not clear. Like, obviously, Paradigm is all in on Tempo. It's not clear to me how much Stripe is all in on Tempo, or this is just one of many bets Stripe is taking. Like if you talk to kind of random people at Stripe, some of them haven't even heard. Like, not people who work on Tempo or blockchain, but like random employees haven't really heard of Tempo, or at least haven't like right after the announcement. So like, I don't know if this is like Stripe's big bet in crypto, or is just Stripe as a giant company and Paradigm kind of showed up and was like, oh, well, all right, sure, we'll go to
Oh,
Stripe.
interesting. I
Well,
was
no,
not
but like
aware.
Matt's on the board of Stripe.
Oh, is okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
He is.
there's a long time connection there. So I think
Yeah,
that's
I mean, obviously Stripe is involved in it. I just don't know if like
right.
this is
Yeah.
like Stripe is. I mean, they're doing stablecoin payments on Solana and Ethereum too, right? Like my
Right.
understanding.
Well, it's like,
So
okay, I'll be honest. It's like it's not dissimilar from people saying, Tether and Plasma, like Plasma's Tether's chain. It's like
yeah,
Tether yeets money at everything. I mean, Tether owns Rumble. Tether has invested in a gajillion random AI startups. Like it's quite similar. You find a big name and then you sort of in align in some capacity. I mean, I think the Stripe to Tempo connection seems more. I don't want to say legitimate. Let me think of another word. It seems more truly,
like
tethered
canonical.
than
Like
yeah.
I just don't know how it
Then
could come out.
Plasma.
Like if Tempo doesn't take off, like is Stripe gonna put like all their resources into making it work, and they're gonna be like, oh, fine, we're doing like payments on Solana or Ethereum or wherever. Like it's fine. Like Tempo is
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
Oh,
can.
interesting. Wait, okay. Because I mean, they're trying to make it this sort of consortium thing. Like, it's basically, I'm sure you saw the memes. It's basically like Libra or DM all over again. Um, but hopefully this time it will actually happen. But yeah, so I feel like, yeah, even if they aren't in control of it at a certain point, like, it would be that they get it afloat and then they step away, not that they, like, abandon it and it goes nowhere. That's I mean, who knows what will happen,
Yeah,
but
but I mean, like, there's just stuff with like how much their fingers on the scale, right? Like, how much are they going to push like end users to go through Tether versus if they're supporting alternate channels outside or not Tether, Tempo
tempo.
versus I'm saying okay, it's just like one neutral option.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree
Yeah,
with
by
that.
the way, you guys, like, Tether does have so much money that they offer to buy this soccer club in
Yeah,
is that it's
Juventus. Yeah.
Italian? Yeah. Which, yeah, I mean, good for them. All right, speaking of stablecoins, the next big controversy in crypto was the USDH competition, the hyperliquid stablecoin. Yeah, a competition, which wasn't a competition. It was, I don't know. I'm gonna say something controversial, but I think most of us would probably agree on the deal that it was preordained who it would be. Hopefully nobody will come attack me for saying that, but yeah, what did you think watching that go down?
I mean, it's kind of like the old meme of the DAO governance forum where it's what color Ferrari does the founder get, and yeah, vote red, and then the founder says no yellow, and then everyone votes yellow. I mean, I think a lot of things on chain governance are probably
Yeah, but I think it's
preordained from the
fine. I
back.
mean, they it
It's probably necessary, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And also, I don't know this for a fact, but I speculate that it was in some capacity preordained. I mean, I don't even think there's anything nefarious in saying preordained. Like they probably were just in close talks with Hyperliquid and team
Right,
and
but
Jeff and
my thing is, like, if it was preordained, then why not just say, "Hey, we're gonna launch our own stablecoin, we're gonna partner with, native markets, blah, blah, blah." Like, why wouldn't you know?
well, I think they okay, so I don't know again, this is just conversations I've had, which is that I think that was the initial idea, and then once it was, I think it was sort of understood this was going to become the native stablecoin, and then it got like everybody wanted to be involved, and so you got all these teams vying, all these teams submitting proposals, and none of that was expected. Like I don't think there was any assumption there was going to be a tremendous amount of hype to begin
No,
with,
no,
so
no,
it was going to look
they put
more
but
similar.
they put an announcement in the Discord saying, like, we're gonna have this little competition, so
I think
but
there's
I think
also maybe regulatory stuff around that. Like you can't if the team like just picks one, right, then it's potentially right too much control over the network versus if you have an open. There's also right like the hype itself. I don't think voted right. Like the other validators voted, so you have to kind of make it. From a regulatory perspective, there's a risk if it doesn't look like a decentralized and open.
so it was DeFi theater, basically.
Well, I mean, I like again, the lawyers make a lot of money and they tell you things, and then like at the end of the day, like who knows what the actual rules are? I don't think anybody knows, but
Yeah,
Oh
but
my gosh,
lawyers
lawyers
this
like
sound
all right.
authoritative when they tell you stuff.
The largest hype holders voted for this to pass, right? Like that's how it works. It's like the validators, I know the foundation abstained, right? But they convinced hyper guys, whatever they're like all the big validators they convinced. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, I suppose capitalism is not always fair, but like I don't think it's is the controversy. I think what happened was it really blew up because a lot of
wait,
VCs
but
had
I wouldn't call that
projects.
capitalism. I wouldn't call it
It's crony
like
capitalism, but there's a
cap
lot of this.
okay, but real capitalism is competition, whereas that was like a fake competition, and then instead it was, yeah, more
Well, but
communist
they
in that it
won.
was
They won with the most the people with the most money ultimately decided the vote, and that's capitalism. Like I think this is just. I really think what happened was that there was a lot of VCs who, and not just VCs but founders, legitimate founders like Guy, right, from Athena, who they all wanted to be involved. Like they're like, oh, okay, we'll submit a proposal as well, and so it got a lot of hype, and then it appeared as though this had been preordained after there was a lot of really good proposals that came in, but at the end of the day the people with the most money voted for it. Like, I understand your
so
point,
you
and
feel like it actually was decentralized.
But nothing is decentralized. I mean, come on, who cares? Like all of this
Wait,
stuff
so
is
what are
theory.
you
About
There's
like
nothing
arguing? What are
decentralized.
you
American
arguing?
democracy. Are you saying some of that's preordained before?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's not even open source. It's the validators are sent a binary, right, that they run, and when they hard fork, they're just sent a new binary, right, and they just start like this is not. I think we're overthinking this. There's a lot of like steps along the way prior to like, oh no, the yield bearing stablecoin is preordained or chosen. It's like there's a lot of things prior to that where if you're engaged in this network, you realize that there is some top down control, and Jeff likely ships whatever code he wants out to the validators, and people seem to like the product. So who cares, right?
So it is decentralization theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
All right, good. I for some reason I thought you were arguing that it wasn't, and I was like, wait, what are you saying? Okay,
It is. It
okay,
is, but it works. It's good enough.
okay. Yeah, I mean, if Hester Purse's what's it called, the safe harbor thing goes through, then yeah, I think they're within like the time frame of when it could be centralized. So, no big deal. And anyway, not like this SEC is going to go after them. Okay. Next big news was the acquisition of Echo by Coinbase, along with the revival of Up Only, which hasn't happened, but yeah, the purchase of Up Only for 25, or the purchase of a season of Up Only for $25 million. And then now, Kobe is doing customer support for Coinbase, which is what you do. You acquire somebody for $400 million so that they can do customer support for you. And I feel like that is like clearly the best acquihire of the year. But yeah, what were your thoughts?
I thought that. Well, I think Kobe, from what. So I don't know him like that well, but I think what he was really trying to solve a problem in earnest. And I think that, I mean, Fogo used, this is a good
Yep.
opportunity to shill Doug. Fogo used Echo,
Yeah.
right? So,
We did Echo
um,
about a year
yeah,
ago.
like I think he was trying to solve a real problem that a lot of us had screeched about for a long time. And yeah, it was like quite a large number
And wait, by that
for,
you about like a good platform for ICOs. Is that what you mean?
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
well,
think just
I
like,
think right, like you early investors are
yeah,
like ideally you're like your early investors should be your users. Like very few, like I mean, I guess there are some VCs that will bring like liquidity or whatever depending on the project, but like all things being equal, if you're going to sell, X amount of tokens to fund some project development at a certain price, you'd rather have them be users, right? Like people who invest are more likely to click on the network versus if you go to whatever multi-coin or whoever, like they're not going to go do a bunch of chain activity.
Gort, were you gonna say
no,
more?
I mean, I will say that I don't necessarily share the view that investors must be users. It's in the context of crypto. I think it's what we've done, and so we sort of take that as at face value. I don't. There's some nuance to whether or not I agree with that, but I take Doug's point. But I think more. I guess my point was more just right for the past. I don't know, 5 years. You could probably extend it further than that. We see these tokens launching at like extremely high FDVs, and most of the charts get murdered, and it doesn't seem that like this premise of retail having early access to these opportunities was really playing out, because VCs were scooping up these rounds very, very early, and oftentimes they were getting bid up in private subsequently, right? So it wasn't even just like one round, it was 2 or 3 rounds, and then all of a sudden you're at $1, $2, $5 billion opening price, right? And so the premise obviously being that retail could just get earlier access, maybe with some conditions, maybe you need to be a credit investor, maybe there's lockups, but more replicate what some VCs have been getting for some period of time now. So like I think he was like, I saw a lot of Kobe, like when he would come on Twitter and respond to people, like I had conversations with him, and mostly what I saw was I think he also agreed that this was a real problem, and so he was trying to solve it. So it's a hard thing to solve, right? I think at a practical level, we've had AngelList and TradFi for quite some time. It works differently with exits and tokens and dynamics, but I think I think it was a passion project, because I think from what I can tell, again, I don't know him that well, but what I see him say, I think he genuinely believes in, the idea that he kind of puts forth with Echo.
Yeah, it's definitely from his perspective, right? Like Kobe probably has better deal flow than any angel
Anybody.
investor
Yeah,
in crypto.
exactly.
So, it's very much a Robin Hood type story of the guy who has great deal flow is opening it up. So,
Yeah. And now that's why he does customer support. That's like his other way.
that's a good Coinbase could use that. That's certainly.
I mean, I
certainly-
will be honest, like, and I think people realize this, but I'll just say it directly. Like, what does it say about Coinbase that there have been problems that we've all dealt with for years, and it's taken one guy who was acquired for an entirely separate reason, right? Like his company had nothing to do with fixing locked accounts, and he's now being able to rectify this stuff. Like, I don't know, that's a little bit, that doesn't imbue tremendous confidence in like Coinbase, from my perspective, that it takes this guy to come in here and like he's fixing the problems that we've screeched about for years, right? I gave up. I'll be honest. I only use Kraken now. Like when I'm onboarding up, like I don't my account got locked. I have one of these back and
You
forth.
never were able to get it back, right?
I have screenshots of how hilarious the conversations were.
Why don't you message Kobe?
I did actually. Ironic. It's funny you say that. I talked to him last week. He's trying to help me because so here's a good example. I had a friend who's not really crypto native, but like I owed him some money, and I said I have some stable coins on Solana. Can you send me your Solana address? And he sent me a Solana address. Unbeknownst to him, he didn't realize it was his Coinbase address, and I had USDT, so I didn't think anything of it, and I sent him USDT on Solana to his Coinbase address, and of course they don't support USDT. By the way, this is a completely like background infrastructure thing that is 100% solvable. Like those coins just sit there, and Doug is more technical than I am, but I don't think it's not that hard of a fix.
No, it's not that hard. They have the keys, right?
Okay.
Like it's not like they're
Yes.
lost or anything. Like they're
So-
the address, but
There is a recovery tool now. Apparently, in Kobe's, we're in the process of trying. The first time I tried it, hasn't worked yet. But this kid now, like we're friends, he's gonna send me the money back because I ended up double paying him, right? Because I was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, like, but when we can unlock that, send that money back to me, right? And so now we're in that process. But like that's a good example of like, come on, you know.
But I am wondering why somebody has USDT on Solana. That's
I have a bunch of different stablecoins. Like probably like some incentives crap on like some lending thing. I don't know.
Stablecoin enjoyer. Just
Yeah.
like-
Why is that so weird? Like, you would think I'd have.
do people don't really use USDT that much
Nah.
on Solana. So it's like it was on Ethereum. Yeah, I could see that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
or
well,
Tron.
anyway, it is. Yeah, that is ridiculous. They can't do that.
It's
Like,
annoying,
one type
right?
of like Tether, a major stablecoin.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe the reason that their regular customer service can't do it is because they are so busy sending our PII to hackers.
Laura, have you ever dealt with Coinbase customer support? Like, have you ever? You don't. You like
No.
completely stay out of crypto, don't you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I've been in it and out of it at different periods, but I'm now back in it. But like, I have somebody manage that for me,
Okay.
so I am not like physically in control of my crypto. Just for whoever's listening who maybe is like mad about something that I wrote about them or said about them or whatever, just so you know. Okay. Before the ad break, let's just discuss briefly the Bitcoin all-time high of $126,000, which is far below what I think a lot of other people kind of thought it was going to end up at this cycle. But yeah, what are your comments on this? And by the way, this is just a few days before the 10/10 liquidations. I mean, basically,
exciting.
Well, wasn't it? It was. I
I'm
think it was
pumped.
Kobe. I think it was Kobe. So we were just saying
Mhm.
good things about him. So I think it was Kobe who said something, right? Like the road from like
0 to
100
100.
125 will be the easy road, then 125 to like 250, or that will be the hard road, and then 125 to 250 will be the easy road. So
I know, but
Yeah.
wait, like the other funny thing is this happened in October, and it was like
oh yeah, October was
60s
ruined.
in apparently is when we reached the all-time high, and then then it was Downtober, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. But so what do you think about that all-time high? And then we can discuss 1010.
It's exciting. I think obviously everybody thought that we were just going to keep running for eternity, and the market tends to punish those who believe there's ever an easy road, I suppose. Um, yeah, I don't have much more than that. I mean, I listened. I think Udi came on. Was it your podcast?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I talk with Udi a lot, right? And we were both like 400K by the end of the he was saying 400K by the end of the year, and I was like, dude,
Uh,
I love it. Like I'm in. I would love for that to be the case, right? And obviously, yeah, I think what most people who are smarter than I am on macros say is probably correct, right? We front ran like Trump coming in, we front ran a lot of the TradFi liquidity, and we were just, sort of earlier. The stock market, gold, everything is at all-time highs right now, and we kind of already ran that up. So, I mean, I suppose it was exciting when it hit that, and it's less exciting now that it's 30% down. But yeah, I don't have much more than that.
All right. So in a moment, we're going to talk about the 1010 liquidations and the rest of the year. But first, a quick word from the sponsors to make this show possible. Hey, founders and developers. If you're looking to bring on-chain trading to your product, wallet, or platform, check out the new Uniswap trading API from Uniswap Labs. It's your plug-and-play gateway to global on-chain liquidity. No deep crypto experience required, and no need to manage complex integrations or ongoing maintenance. With the Uniswap trading API, you'll get enterprise-grade on-chain execution, combining both on-chain and off-chain sources for the most competitive prices. Simply put, more liquidity, less complexity. And this isn't just any API. It connects directly to the Uniswap protocol, which has securely processed over $3.3 trillion in total volume with zero hacks. So stop worrying about liquidity infrastructure and focus on building your product. Get access to the same liquidity that powers billions in swaps through one powerful API. Visit hub.uniswap.org to learn more. Mantle has entered a new phase as the distribution layer connecting TradFi and on-chain liquidity. To accelerate this vision, the Mantle Global Hackathon 2025 is inviting developers to build scalable RWA and DeFi products. Why build on Mantle? It's an ecosystem built for builders. You get direct access to Bybit's 7 million plus users for potential listing exposure, support from the $4 billion Mantle treasury, and mentorship from top VCs like Spartan and Animoca brands. With 6 tracks prioritizing RWAs and RealFi, and a $150,000 prize pool plus grants, this is your chance to deploy on a high-performance modular L2. Register now. The link is in the show notes. Back to my conversation with Doug and Gwart. So, yeah, we left on the high note of the Bitcoin all-time high. Well, though I don't know if that was a high note because it was far below what a lot of people thought the all-time high was going to be. But anyway, we then come to the 1010 liquidations, which, yeah, that was like you said, Gore, I'm not really in crypto, but like that was terrible even just for me, like watching, sitting on my computer on, Friday afternoon. And yeah, huge shocker. Interestingly, I feel like it's the first time that I've ever heard of finance like really fucking something up, not, and that wasn't like regulatory. Like this was like an actual failure on the part of the trading apparatus. And then we also have that element of the whale who made a shit ton of money. And it's seemingly, somebody who's connected to the White House. So those elements together make for, kind of a spicy story. So what's your take on what happened there?
Doug is like our premier expert on 1010. He wrote this thread that was like one of the most popular threads in Twitter history.
Doug, you became,
about
you became
yeah,
like a
I'm
star.
actually surprised that got. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we still don't know exactly what happened on 1010. I don't know if we ever will know exactly what happened, and people are like, "Oh, so and so got liquidated." I mean, look,
Wait,
like a
wait,
lot of
wait,
people,
wait.
like,
Meaning, do you disagree with the two elements that I talked about, like the
oh,
big
no, no,
whale
no, I
and
think they're true, but,
okay.
like, I don't I mean, people are still now like, "Oh, somebody big got, liquidated on
Oh,
10/10,
oh.
and then, like, the market's been broken since then," or, like, right, people had, like, conspiracies like, "Oh, Binance was gonna switch USDE to, like, different collateral mode, like, 3 days later, and so this was planned ahead of time." Like, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever really know exactly what happened. But
Well,
yeah, I mean, like,
what's your
right, like,
top
everyone
theory?
was farming perps, right? Like, everyone was farming perp dexes. Everyone had, like, some leverage on some things, and, like, all alts went to, like, 0, at least, like, Wick. So even if you were on, like, 2x leverage and you probably thought it was, like, safe farming, whatever, the nth largest perp dex, I feel like everyone kinda got not wiped out, but, like, everyone got kinda, like, hit in some
I got liquidated on gold, and that was like the only position I had open. It's hilarious. Like I had, of course, naively had zero idea that I could get liquidated on 3x on gold. Yeah, but such is the case. Honestly, like again, I don't have any insight into market structure and stuff. Certainly not to the extent that Doug does. So we should press him more on that. But one thing I would say is, honestly, it's really not ideal that Bitcoin can go down like that in 30 minutes. And it's also not ideal. And I'm saying, like, this is something we all know because we've dealt with insane amounts of volatility being in crypto for the past 5, 10 years, whatever. Like, we've all seen this. But I've been talking to people who are trying to, I wouldn't say bring mass adoption, but they are trying to build products. They are trying to build useful services for people to use Bitcoin, use crypto. And we sit here and we were all very much sold on this, you know, non-sovereign store of value, like, and a lot of people apply that to Bitcoin and people apply that to other, assets as well. But it, it it's hard to like that this delays adoption. This type of thing really does delay adoption in my mind. Like, and I know that's fine. Like I'm as bullish as I ever will be on Bitcoin, right? Like, so this is in the long run to me is like, okay, all of this stuff is ups and downs. Like people know that I'm just if Bitcoin succeeds, great. If it dies, like I'm gonna die with it, and I'm fine with that, and I know that, right? But like, so it doesn't change my conviction. But I really do think that this is not ideal, and we're sitting here telling people like this is a store of value, and it goes down 15% in 30 minutes, and then bleeds down 40% over the course of 3 months. Like that is a hard pitch to boomers. It's a hard pitch to people who would invest thinking that this, can preserve their wealth, and then they're down 40%. Like, and we see gold, see the stock market, right? These things aren't great. Like, zooming out is it's really not ideal, and it's annoying.
and
Yeah.
I guess it should have been, right? Like, you would think that ETFs and, like, widespread
Exactly.
hold it, right? Like, it's like the story in, like, 2013 is just a bunch of, like, online, like, crazy people trading this back and forth, but, like,
Right.
at this point, institutions own it, like, they should be stable.
Right, exactly. Like we that was the whole pitch was like the institutions are here. We'll never see this, extreme volatility again. There's a constant bid, right? Like there's a perpetual bid on the books for massive size. Any whales that have held for 10, 15 years can easily get out now without, moving the chart because there is a persistent bid. And then we have these events and like, yeah, I mean, I talked to somebody, building like a lending protocol, and it's like it's hard to build financial products around these type of assets when you think you're taking out a very conservative loan and you're you're just wiped. Like put aside me getting liquidated on gold because I had no idea. Of course, like I'm just degenerately screwing around, but like this is the stuff that I'm w- it's unfortunate. But like okay, such is life, right? Such as markets, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, yeah, crypto people who are true believers had their comeuppance because like gold reached all-time highs this year. And now, okay, Bitcoin did too, but gold really outpaced Bitcoin. And it's just like a lesson in, um, the market for crypto is still so small and like adoption is still so little. And so, yeah, like way more people in the world have faith in gold than they do in
I
Bitcoin.
mean, it's painful. Silver keeps hitting all-time highs, and Bitcoin is just ooh,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, I'm not
not
worried.
pleasant.
It's probably look. It's probably a good thing to like as a reminder that this is not that there. This easy road does not exist, and I don't think Bitcoin's going to zero, but like this stuff takes time. And this idea that all of a sudden nation states are just gobbling this up in, massive size and will never let it, experience volatility is probably pretty delusional. And I mean, this happens in the stock market as well. So like, let's not pretend that this is a uniquely crypto thing, but yeah, it's annoying. Like it's super annoying, especially when I'm talking to people, someone's wedding and I'm saying, yeah, I like buy the Bitcoin ETF. Like, now you can just get on your brokerage account, like no problem. Don't deal with this custody stuff. Then like 3 weeks later, just nukes. And I'm like, pretending I didn't say that stuff.
It's never good at Thanksgiving. You want it. You
Right.
want Thanksgiving to be the all.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving is always a bad time for
Yeah,
crypto people.
exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully people didn't have too terrible of a Thanksgiving.
But wait, I
Okay.
think we should ask Doug one more thing. So with regards to the whole 1010 thing, because again, he's the foremost expert, and almost everybody would say that. The one thing I should ask you about, so like circuit breakers or something resembling circuit breakers, right? We have these in TradFi where if a stock just nukes in a very short period of time, people, they cut trading and they're like, okay, hang on, let's figure out what's going on. There's some proposed solutions where like perhaps not a pure play circuit breaker, but some short period of time where
Or you time
like
out.
yeah. So what are your like sort of what were your conclusions on this? I don't know if it's feasible with something like a DEX, but like what are
I
your kind
think
of
I don't think it's a bad idea. Like some of those wicks, like to zero. You kind of right. You don't want to liquidate people
they
because
were
like you have one
finding
wick
fair
of
value. Adam found
yeah,
fair
yeah.
value.
Maybe those are the fair value of some of those alts, but right, like it's not a terrible. The challenge is, I think, like really what happened with 1010 is you have like market makers, and especially in crypto, right? Like market makers have to like, especially you're on some long tail venue, you have to hedge other places, and like ADL kind of screwed everyone here because you're getting closed out on one side of your hedge and you weren't open on another. And I guess like my worry with circuit breakers is like if you're trading on Hyperliquid and hedging at Binance and like one is shut down, like that could actually like really, really screw you because you can't like hedge your positions
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
anywhere.
say. Like, I feel like it would only make sense, or you, Doug, tell me if I'm thinking about this correctly, but like, it would only make sense if they check that like the price dislocation is only on their venue, and they have a way to figure out that it's not anywhere else. Because otherwise, like, yeah, it can really there will be people who will be upset if there's like a policy at one place that isn't replicated at the others, or if the circuit breaker kicks in when it like shouldn't have. So yeah, I feel like it almost opens like a can of worms. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's tough. It's tough to get right, right? Like in TradFi, like the nice thing is you can claw back like money afterwards, right? So if like something's messed up and there's errors, right? Like you can always go to Citadel or whoever and you like claw back money from. You can't do that in crypto. So
It's
like
bad if there's like if so few people know what's going on. If so few market makers know what's going on, they're just pulling all liquidity from the books. That's like not that doesn't end up well. Like and we saw this when everyone's like, hang on, like where is this coming from and what's going on? Like, yeah, that's really not ideal. That's when you see these, you know, wicks to zero.
yeah, I mean the reality is like the technology at crypto exchanges is not great. Right, like the API gateways, like if there's something that's an easy fix, it's like make the API gateways more reliable. Like they just go offline. They give you your orders like 10 minutes later, right? And this is something, right? Like crypto exchanges, they have a lot of money they could invest in. Maybe there's like a Coinbase like customer service thing. Like why 10 years now do they not have like reliable gateways? Like go hire someone from NASDAQ and just build a reliable gateway.
okay, let's move on to the next big news event, at least that I remembered, which was the surge in privacy coins. Zcash leading the pack, but a bunch of other privacy coins also in tow. What did you make of that? It kind of came out of nowhere, and I want to float a theory by you, which is that in my mind, what happened is threadguy was hit by a big tax bill and was like stressing about it on the timeline. And literally the next day, all of a sudden we like see, maybe it wasn't the next day, but like within, 48 hours, we see this huge surge in Zcash. Like, am I wrong in thinking that there was a connection there, or like was there or wasn't there?
Threadguy realized that California is a high tax state. Yeah.
But is that related to the surge in Zcash or not?
Oh, was that? I actually I
The
never
timing
put
was
that two and two
coincidental,
together.
I think.
Okay, so, like, why did Zcash suddenly surge overnight? I just never understood that.
Well, okay, so in crypto, we have these things called narratives, all right? And every few months, we cycle through a new one. And one we had not cycled through in quite some time was this idea around privacy. And there was this, collective, y- I guess, realization that everything on a blockchain is public. And so that was a narrative. It is perhaps still ongoing.
But,
And
like, what caused that to happen at that moment?
I guess 1010 actually probably did play. I mean,
No, no,
obviously you
no, no,
can't
no, no,
use
because
Zcash.
it was the end of September is when Zcash and the privacy
Oh,
coin
was
started
it?
to take
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you had James Wynn and like people were talking about like being hunted on perp
Yeah, but
dexes and
James Wynn,
stuff,
that
and
was, like, in May.
yeah, I don't know. They were just trying. I mean, one thing is right. Like privacy was kind of you didn't want to touch it for like previous admin, so I think we hadn't done a privacy narrative in a while, just because like if you're a dev and you're a privacy dev, like okay, go to jail. Um, and so now is like kind of the first time in a while you don't go to jail if you're a privacy dev.
I think, okay,
So it's a
look,
good time to.
Laura, I'll level
Okay,
with you. I
but
think
one of
you're
them
kind of,
just went to prison, but anyway.
I think you're overthinking the why. Like, why did we have this AI agent narrative where these coins pump to billions of dollars? Like, it's just these things just happen, and there's not. I so I think that we hadn't had a privacy narrative in a long time, and I also think that I agree with Doug that this new administration seems, more open to virtually everything. And if this gets us talking about privacy, which is something new to talk about, right? We like run through the same things over and over, then that's probably net good. So, but in terms of why, I mean, why does, why does the sun rise? Like, I think it's like these things just happen within our space, and it was time. You know what I mean? The energy was such that it was time.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know, to me, it was such a spike, I was kinda like, there has to be, like, a real
Okay, so I have
reason.
some theories about that, but I won't,
Oh,
you know.
don't but say them.
I mean, it's nothing more than what people have said. Well, okay, so Z so
I mean,
Zcash.
liquidity is very, very thin
Yes,
on
yeah.
Zcash,
There,
so
that's
it does
there
not
that
take
that's a
much
nice
to
way to
make
say
it
that.
run.
Yeah. There's also a lot of people who've held Zcash for a long time. Um, so, there was a data announced recently. I don't know. You can kind of like I really I don't
Oh,
want to like truly I don't want to say anything because I'm purely speculating. But if you followed
okay.
narratives in
That makes
DApps for the
so much
past,
sense.
6 months, you can probably deduce what may be going on, may be happening. I don't want to like suggest anything nefarious. Like you know, like Mert's one of our friends, and I'm not suggesting anything like untoward. I'm just you can probably make some educated guesses. You could also probably look at who are the big supporters of Zcash in the past, who are the big holders. Like none of this is like private information. So I don't know. That's my guess. Like, look at a lot of the
I,
data.
I just like Barry Silver was trying to pump Zcash for like years,
I
and
know,
it
right?
never. It's just down only chart, and then
Yeah.
Merck comes in and whew.
Yeah, I know, right? God tier KOL.
But he's not involved in the debt, is he?
No, I don't think so, but he is I suppose
Enthusiast.
he's a privacy advocate now, yeah.
Okay, so he's like a whale who heard wind of the debt or something, maybe.
No, I really like I know you want us to spew gossip into shitposts like we may do on Twitter, but I really don't have any like, enlightening information. There's things where I agree with you that you see this like massive, straight up on the chart, and it's like, what's going on? Like Doug said, you could go look at like all the exchanges. There's very, very little
Yeah, I just don't
liquidity.
think it would take the
It
chart's very
doesn't.
impressive, but it doesn't
Exactly.
take much money to make it
Exactly.
look that way. So it doesn't even have to be like most of it could be like one or two like Zcash
Right. And
people, right? Like it
lest
almost
we
makes it.
forget, what Farcoin ran to well over $1 billion.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah,
a little.
the market cap's not super high, right?
No, it's
Like
not
it was
insane.
like,
It's not. It's not.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's all diluted, and it's
Okay.
not like a low float coin. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, so I already made this joke on the show, but like to me, just the fact that they named the DAT cypherpunk, like I'm like, it's the least cypherpunk thing that you can do is make a DAT. But anyway, whatever. It's a great name. I'm not criticizing the name. I just find it hysterical. Okay. Next thing. Well, yeah, so we actually didn't cover AI agents, but like that is like such a, I mean, that's been of interest to a lot of people for like the last year. And obviously this X402 standard has piqued a lot of interest. So what are your thoughts on that?
Doug, what do you think of AI agents?
Future of crypto. Uh, no, I've been following the AI agent stuff. Not very. I should follow it more. I guess I feel like there's a lot of hype for. I'm sure there's tech there. I'm sure there's tech underneath, but I think it's very, very easy when like OpenAI's at $1 trillion to slap AI on anything in crypto and have the valuation run up. So I do feel like
Doug is
there's
our resident AI doomer.
AI
But
bear.
yeah, but not doomer. Like he doesn't think it's gonna decimate humanity. He's just gonna do nothing for humanity.
I do use it all the time though. Like
I know.
I'm
Every
constantly
argument we have is
every
you,
argument is just
ChatGPT versus
AI, but
me.
it's AI arguing against AI.
I'm not using AI. Those are my real thoughts.
No, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really been. I just think it's very low signal to noise. So I haven't taken the time really to see what is high signal in there. So
I
Okay.
don't really know what the X402 thing, apart from like payments agents to agents. I mean, this whole thing is like a deep, in my opinion, like misunderstanding as to what AI is and like what agents are. It's not like there's this whole hype around autonomous agents interacting and stuff. Like it's just code. Like agents trading. We've had code trading on NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange for 20 years. It's called algorithmic trading, right? Like nobody is hand smashing market orders, right? They have like a system. Like all of this stuff has been intentionally anthropomorphized in order to sell like this narrative of an agent economy. And it's like there's still humans directing people to do this. And I think the whole thing is like somewhat of a charade. I don't know what I saw the X402 thing, and there was like some meme coins that came of it, but I don't actually know what it does. Like it's just another,
It's literally just like a standard. So it just helps create a standard way for people to code AI agents. I did an episode with one of the authors and then somebody who founded a company that also works in this area. And it was really interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's something that you can directly make money from. It's more just like, HTTP or, whatever. So, but yeah, you can build something that uses it. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left, but there's definitely a few other topics we should definitely hit. One is a Kalshi versus Poly market. I mean, this is just, like blood in the streets kind of rivalry, in my opinion. The way these two companies yeah, just I don't know. It's so interesting. Like how she, trying to get all these different influencers and like Polymarket doing the same thing. Kalshi, raised $1 billion at an $11 billion valuation. Polymarket raised at a $12 billion valuation. So basically, I don't know. What do you guys think of this whole thing going down between the two of them?
I think it. So okay, I agree with you. I actually think it's the most. Um, it really is like the most acerbic sort of. I mean, I guess we've dealt with this in crypto for a while. Like
well, there was
teams,
this like the FBI, right? Like the people
yeah,
are saying
yeah.
like
So like
chain
Kalshi
from
called.
Polymarket call sheet, yeah, accusations that they were
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I
not
feel like if you call the FBI on somebody, that's hard to
Wait, that
repair your
Kalshi
relationship.
called the FBI on Shane? Is that
They're right. This was right after the election. Shane
So,
was detained. His phones were searched.
they had Antonio, was it Antonio Brown, I think, tweet
Yeah.
that like this guy looked guilty or something. Okay, first of all,
Yeah.
all this is alleged. Like, I don't want to get
Yeah, alleged.
sued
Yeah.
here, so I don't know it, but I will say there hasn't been an extreme denial of that from what I can tell on on Kalshi's part. That seems like sort of understood to have been true, that they had people. I don't think they necessarily called the FBI on Chain, maybe, I don't know, but they did have
Was
it
this,
seemed,
some of it from Kalshi was like they were dunking on them though. At least after that, like even if they
Yeah.
weren't, like they were dunking on them on Twitter, like
For sure.
after.
Well,
So
and then
it's
also I think they did like reach out to influencers to like insinuate that
right. That
Shane
was
was
it.
guilty.
Right. Like
Yeah. So that's really not a very good look. I don't think that's like again, if true, not a good look. And there was like I've heard is it Tarek? Anyways, I've heard him subsequently
Tarek,
say
I
like
think.
we've made some mistakes. So it's like I don't know if that was an admission or what, but yeah, like that's really not a great look from Kalshi. But like the energy on like the back and forth is like very extreme, right? And I think it's because it's that you have like two sort of novel. I say novel. I mean, you have two companies that are or could eventually make a tremendous amount of money. Like these could potentially be extremely valuable, and they already are to some capacity. And it's like, so the competition is fierce, right? I guess that's maybe the most generous way to interpret it.
Are either of them though large compared to like FanDuel or kind of the traditional betting?
It's a good question. I
What
don't
is
know.
DraftKings trading at? Yeah, like
Like trading volume?
no.
Yeah, just like actual like volume, like profit to
So okay, so like so Polymarket and Kalshi are almost valued market cap wise at
yeah, but
the same as Draft.
market
No,
caps
but I'm
make believe, right?
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just pointing out that well, it's all paper.
Yes, yeah, I see what you're. Yes, I see what you're saying. Right.
So
Yeah.
they're like, I mean, they're being underwritten at like I suppose like $100 billion company, but no, I think the vast majority of it is sports betting. It seems for the time being. I know Polymarket made this big deal of showing that they were a lot more prediction market. They had a lot more prediction market volume, whereas Kalshi maybe is the vast majority of it is sports betting. So, but I don't know. I mean, there's I think 50,000-60,000 daily active users on both, like, or one Polymarket. Like, we'll see. It does seem
Yeah.
pretty.
I mean, it just strikes. I don't know. I don't know this space very well. It feels like you're kind of out ahead of the skis, right? Like we're assuming that like one of them are gonna win, but like to me, it seems just as likely like DraftKings. DraftKings does election versus Polymarket does sports.
I think. So I will like sort of disclose, like, I'm friends with people at Polymarket, like, friendly with Shane, I suppose, and also people at Kalshi. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, but yes, I do tend to agree that also, from what I can tell, the legal side of this is by no means worked out. And if there is anybody who is, at like, if you want to talk about a lobby that is extremely protective of what they are granted by the federal government, it is states with gambling and Native American tribes. So there is going to be pushback on this, and we'll see. But I don't think we're done in that capacity, right? Like, we talk about this a lot with some of our friends. Like, I don't think this whole fight is by any means won from prediction markets if they are perceived as gambling similarly to DraftKings, FanDuel, all the massive Las Vegas behemoths.
Yeah. So I just did some quick Googling to try to figure this out, and it looks like the Gemini AI is telling me that Kalshi's trading volume annualized has reached approximately $50 billion as of November. And it also tells me that FanDuel has or in 2024, FanDuel had $50 billion wagered. So I don't know if that's exactly apples to apples, but it seems like, at least there's
It's
something.
pretty significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Poly market is smaller, but they are only rolling out in the US now, so I would imagine they're gonna catch up at a certain point. Okay. So one other thing that I wanted to ask you guys about. I mean, I actually have a few, three more. But one other one, because this just, ICO Beast is associated now with Kalshi. But I'm sure you saw what happened with him and Mega ETH,
Yeah.
where he basically was like, "Oh, I, received this allocation," and he was named as one of the, I forget what they called them, but there was like a kind of a tranche that received like more than normal because they had helped the Mega ETH team so much, and he was in that tranche. So I would imagine that his allocation was like pretty significant. And they took it away because he was trying to figure out how to hedge. So what? Because there was like a lockup on that. So what do you make of that?
Doug.
I mean, I don't know. It was a good spectacle, right? Like crypto is all about spectacle. So I don't know. I think it's honestly probably good for Mega ETH, good for Mr. Beast.
Okay, even though he lost his significant allocation.
Yeah. But I mean, it kind of right. It puts him in the spotlight. Right now, it's like we're talking about him on a year-end recap show on whether KOLs
Mhm.
get that treatment. I don't know. I guess it's kind of funny. Maybe it's controversial. Like if you say bad stuff about somebody. I don't know. I don't have a real strong opinion. I thought it was entertaining.
Would
Is
you
my strong-
yank someone's allocation if they were shit talking
critical of my
Fogo?
projects?
Yeah.
No, I don't
I
think
think
I'd
that like I
No,
will
but it
say
wasn't
this.
that he was critical. It was that he tried to hedge it. That's what it
Oh, he
was.
tried to hedge it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
everybody.
he
I feel
openly
like
talked on, yeah, X about it.
everybody does it. It's I guess people don't really
I know,
talk
but it
about
was
it,
against
but
the rules.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's against the
Oh,
rules.
okay, so like okay, then yeah, I mean, he should have to deal with the repercussions. I will say that I only follow this loosely, but I did see it, and I don't think that you tweet something and you probably don't realize what the ramifications of that are. So maybe one thing I would say is like I know yeah, I would think maybe like Brother Bing would have reached out to him and been like, "Hey, like this isn't cool," first. But maybe to make a point, you need to bring down the hammer sometimes. But it wasn't that like that's not that egregious. So, yeah,
Wait,
I
what
guess
he did, you mean, or what
yeah,
they
I
did?
don't think it's what he did and then on I guess also what they I mean, if it was against the rules, then yeah, like if it was
Mhm.
lesson learned.
Yeah, it wasn't like allocation he held for like years and was like
Right,
getting
exactly. Yeah,
rugged on the value. It
exactly.
was
It
like you're
was
getting a refund for something you did a couple days ago.
well,
Like
and
it's
also what given token launches this year, like we'll see if he ends up like losing a ton of money on that. Like maybe that was the greatest thing in the world, right? To be he's saved 100K or whatever it was. I don't know, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, but, the point is that whatever they allocated to him, especially, like I said, he was in a special tranche where he had helped them the most, so I think it was a very generous allocation, so, yeah, that reflects however many years he was helping them, and then now he got nothing for it, but okay,
well, he's a
next.
Kalshi like shill. He's getting paid, I'm sure, not even just shill. He's like a full time like part of their PR team. Like he's doing fine, I'm sure. So lesson learned. I don't think what he did was that bad, and I don't think that yanking it's that bad. But like it is. I mean, it was funny. It was funny.
Okay. Let's talk about something that is, like, intentionally funny, which is Choose Rich Nick has, like, really broken through to, like, even non-crypto people. Obviously, we all saw the initial, like, girlfriend tweet, but then, he went viral for "May I Meet You?" Like, now it just feels like he's going viral generally for, like, a lot of stuff. Was curious for your thoughts on him and
I
that
think
whole
he's actually really
saga.
funny. I think he's
Yeah, I
He
think
funny.
it's
is.
funny. It's like full caveat. Like we've actually worked with him for some stuff on Fogo, but I mean, look, it kind of reminds me of like Sacha Baron Cohen, like Borat or like Bruno. Like he really picks these characters and leans into them. definitely takes like some when everyone's yelling at you and mad at you, like to kind of lean in more to it. Takes some special type of personality. But yeah, I think he's funny. He's definitely more
Yeah.
cringe people on
I
Twitter.
don't know if you listen, he came on the show and he was not in his persona and he was so thoughtful. And it was like
Really?
actually yeah, and it was a really, really interesting interview. He like gave us a behind the scenes look at how they do some of their stuff and like I don't know if you remember the Avalanche controversy, but there was some like avalanche event on a yacht and
Oh,
then
yeah.
yeah, like so
But I
nobody
thought that
knew
was all,
what
like, a
happened.
troll, right?
That was only what?
I thought that was, like, all a troll, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, so he revealed that, like, basically what happened was, he got kicked off, but nobody sort of knew what for, and then Kobe tweeted that what happened was that he had imitated Justin's son with the banana art, but instead he had painted his penis yellow and attached it to the wall, and so Kobe tweeted that, and, like, then suddenly that was, like, the narrative of what actually happened, but yeah, Choose Rich Nick came on the show and revealed actually what really happened, which wasn't that. But anyway. Okay, okay, so the last 2 things, these 2 things are, like, a weird combo, but, so I was just interested for your reaction to the Do Kwon sentence of 15 years.
I'll be honest, it was, like, so something that seemed fairly obvious as to okay, so first of all, the collapse of Luna, it was, like, the whole thing was very obvious, right? Like, and it was pretty clear what happened. There's no, yeah, I don't think I think it's fairly straightforward what happened there. Now, I will say that all of the stuff that came out, like, so much stuff it was like information overload, and everything that came out afterwards, it just became like I wasn't gonna follow every little detail as to what transpired both publicly and in the background and all the deals he had with market makers and all this stuff. Like, was he buying this Bitcoin? Like, all this stuff just got like so convoluted and so complex to me. There was this post the other day from somebody who was at Terraform, is that what it was called? I, it was, I mean, this was like a novella. I mean, it was like, 10 pages would have so I didn't read that, but I did read the last sentence and or the last couple sentences, and there was some sympathy, which, you know, I don't know, like, at the end of the day, like, how much was it patently a Ponzi scheme, or was it transparent what he was doing? I think that's one side of it, and then the other side of it was he doing illegal stuff in the background, which it ended up appearing yes, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of these things where the whole thing was so obviously broken that I mean, it gets to the market cap it did, like, there was gonna be a fallout, and yeah, it's been pretty extreme.
Yeah,
So I
but so do you think he should be in prison for 15 years for that?
I don't know. I really like, again.
Yeah, I feel like Luna itself, right? Like everyone knew
Right.
kind of the rules of it. I don't think he should be in prison for 15 years because like Luna was like a Ponzi scheme that was transparent and it was kind of like right like 2022 people or 2021 people are kind of nuts. But like to Gord's point, like I don't know all the things in court, like who like what was the one thing like the chai like payments thing he was lying about, like
Yeah.
how much that was used, like right, like
Yeah.
he I'm sure he was doing so much stuff, like, where's their fraud? Like, where was he, like, lying to people about which doesn't change, like, the insurance like, how Luna works, right? Like, this is still, like, ultimately, right, like, a silly thing, but and maybe it doesn't, like I don't know how many people were buying Luna based on, like, Chai would have, like, a lot of transaction volume. My guess is probably not many in 2021. I think people are buying a lot of crypto. Those are just silly, but, like, I'm sure he did enough that there's probably actual, like, fraudulent acts.
He's not the most endearing character. Like, I mean, the way he interacted with people for 2 years was so boisterous, it was so arrogant, and, it's kinda like an Icarus type thing, right? Like, if anything, that type of attitude makes it more likely that when this does unravel, when things do blow up, that people are very, very curious as to what was going on in the background. And when you are making claims that are probably end up being patently untrue, like, I don't know. I mean, if he was sort of like a demure Jeff from Hyperliquid type who never really was public facing and wasn't really publicly saying what was going on in the background, right? But there may have been some, like, kind of reap what you sow. And from what I can tell, I don't know, 15 years seems like a lot, but maybe it's maybe it's not enough. I don't know. Like, but he's not somebody who I'm like, wow, what a great guy. Like, man, what a shame he got screwed. Like, maybe he's in jail for 10 more years than he should be, right? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't have like much. I wasn't really keyed into that after it fell apart.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that was
also didn't
definitely.
follow, the fraudulent bits. The one sentiment that I saw on Twitter that made a lot of sense to me was that, people lost a lot of money in Luna, but they lost, like, paper gains, which is different from, like, FTX and SBF where they, well, although no, yeah, I guess even some of that could be the same, but it's like they
I mean,
I don't know.
UST went to 0, and that wasn't
Yeah, UST was
that wasn't really a paper
no
gain if
gains on
people
that.
were
Well,
Yeah,
it depends, I guess how much
well,
interest you were stacking, but yeah, you were
but it's
well,
probably
I
more
mean, dude, if
like,
you deposited 100K into UST to get 20% yield and it goes to 0,
yeah,
you lost
you're right. It doesn't.
100K. So I
Well,
don't
yeah,
I was saying you got a
know.
but
year of yeah. No, you're
But
right. You're
also,
right.
one
20
other thing
grand,
about
cool.
that is, like, hopefully people were educated to understand the risks, whereas, like, what's different with FTX is, like, he literally took the actual funds, whereas, like, Doe, it was, like, a failed thing,
Yeah,
and, like,
I do
yeah,
agree. I do agree
so
with that. Like FTX was straight up the money was stolen. Like there
Yeah.
is, and there was no and like UST, like the UST mechanism itself. Like I actually, like people might be mad or whatever, but like people knew what they were getting into, and it's just like a question of what's fraudulent, you know, around what he was saying to telling different people. But no one was deceived. Like oh, there's actual dollars behind
yeah,
UST.
yeah. Okay. So last really quick thing I want to touch on is, like, what do you think of this quantum threat that everybody's talking about? Like, are you following that? Like, I don't know. Some people are saying that Nic Carter is, like, over overreacting to this potential threat. Do you think this is something crypto people should worry about or not?
Okay, I just did a podcast today on this, so I'm gonna show my podcast. I was not going to show my podcast, but
Well,
now
this
I
I
shall.
mean, this isn't coming out for, like, another week after we're recording anyway, so
Okay, well,
you're good.
okay, so I just did a podcast on this. Go back and listen to it now with a guy who is a longtime Bitcoin developer, um, not a core dev, but just somebody who's like independently hacking away on Bitcoin for a while, and he is not a quantum researcher. Okay, he's not a physicist, but he is somebody who I think is quite bright and has is quite pragmatic. He is very, very skeptical. Um, with that said, I don't think so. I think Nick is what he's doing is in earnest. Like I read the first one. I'm not concerned about quantum. Um, yeah, that's like my take is that I have basically I think there's actually a lot of other concerns prior to quantum for crypto. One, like a use case, to getting people to utilize yeah,
Security budget. That was last cycle's FUD.
yeah, exactly. Again, with Bitcoin, most of the stuff, at least to me, right, like long time, like digging my heels, don't care bull is okay. Like all this stuff doesn't really phase me because I'm gonna live by the sword, die by the sword. Like whatever happens, happens. So like I'm not. I am very unconvinced on quantum. I also am like the last person you should ask about quantum. So I hope that helps. Doug, you're
Okay.
more of a computer scientist than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's hard to predict. I feel like there's gonna be like it's not all of a sudden there's gonna be quantum computer tomorrow. So like I think what people are afraid of is like, oh, Bitcoin core devs are like it's so ossified at this point that like you can't even make a small change or take 10 years and like, they'll be able to develop this whole new type of technology before Bitcoin core can even like make a 3-line code change to the protocol. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's small on my things to worry about. I think there's definitely other things to worry about. But that being said, I do think like it. I would guess it's probably contributing to kind of the crappy performance of Bitcoin the past couple months. Like you talk to
I'm a
boomers and
little
they're like, "Oh, what
okay.
about quantum?"
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical of that. Like I'm
You don't think
personally
so?
well, I say I'm a little skeptical. Like I don't doubt that's a thing, but we can always assign some valid reason for
Fun?
FUD at any
Yeah,
given
yeah,
point. Like
yeah.
for example, like I heard a few months ago that all this Bitcoin's ending up with Sailor in ETFs, and longtime holders are concerned that it's lost its cypherpunk ethos. And I'm like, people just sometimes have gains of 10,000x from mining Bitcoin, and they can now exit and buy their, villa in Nice or, in Mallorca. Like, there are reasons that people sell, and we try to ascribe, like, whatever is the current reason for the market being down. We're trying to, like, ascribe that to, that's the reason they're selling. And, like, in reality, I think people just sell stuff, and I don't I would be very surprised if a lot of ETF selling and institutional selling is because of quantum FUD, primarily because those people know exactly zero about quantum. So for them to just start yeeting and nuking the chart would surprise me.
Is that you don't have to know a lot about something to trade on the narrative, though.
Yeah, but again, I'm just saying, like, there's all sorts of narratives at any given point.
Yeah, I
that
agree with
can,
you, right? There's chart, and then you come up with explanations after
exactly.
the fact. by the
So
chart.
almost everything that people, say is why, Bitcoin's nuking, the market's not doing well. It's like, okay, maybe sometimes people just sell and, they want to go buy a new house. Like, it's not like we don't have to overthink it. And also the market is derived from a trillion different individual preferences, right? Like, it's never one single thing at any given point. So like, I don't know.
All right, fair point. Really.
Okay, you guys. Well, this has been super fun. Before we, say goodbye, this is going to be the last episode of 2025. Do you want to give a 2026 prediction?
I think 2026 will be better, but only because it feels like up only from here, right? I do personally feel like we've likely bottomed. So I think 2026 will be better. Fed's about to inject a bunch of capital into the system. So,
Yeah.
we always have to rely on these external narratives. that are like-
Everything is just liquidity.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody
Like
says QE, I'm like, all right, that's good enough for me. Like, we're just talking about quantum FUD. We were just talking about the FUD. I do the exact same thing, but for bullish reasons. I'm like, oh, QE, like, there we go. Like, I don't know what that means, but like, I'll latch onto that narrative, no problem.
Yeah, I think 2020 like can't get. I mean, I guess it could get a lot worse, but it feels like people are like max pessimism, like cynicism. I don't know. Like you go on like crypto Twitter, it's like how cynical are people, and that's usually a good like counter signal. Like when people are kind of this max cynicism thing, that's actually when crypto tends to run, and then the opposite when they're like euphoric about stuff. Then like buying into narratives that don't make any sense is actually usually when you want to sell. So I
Yeah.
think it's good from here.
All right. Well, you guys, this was super fun. Thanks so much for chatting with me about all the events of 2025.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. Laura's fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Happy New Year, everyone. Catch y'all later.